Good evening, tubers and electronic friends. So tonight's little venture is basically a variation. I'm sure somebody's done this. Somebody's done everything, right? This is a variation of a circuit that I played around with quite a while ago. That was a 555 timer. What the hell did we call it? Sentex or something. It was an interesting circuit where capacitors were used to fill and then change the reactance and flip the direction to create your AC. And this is another inverter. It's actually, you know, this damn videos, right? It always, you know, makes it seem like it's absolutely dark, whereas it's quite reasonable in this room. It's not bad at all. That little sucker is glowing not bad. Now it's normally, it's one of the smaller little guys, eh? You know, like, I'll try to get the amount of rings there so you can see 3 twists or whatever. So it's but it's nice. It's nice yellow light. It's nice warm white, as they call it. I like it, and it's really non-offensive on the eyes. There's no buzzing on the circuit, so let me show you the circuit here. It's a simplified version, and I'm running it on a fully charged battery right now. That's like when it was up to 13 volts. So it draws about 80. On a battery that's around 12.6, 12.5, it draws around 65 or 70 milliamps. But the neat thing about the circuit isn't ultra efficiency, rather you can make it out of garbage. I tried to make it with some NPNs and I fried every single one. You might be able to do it with an NPN out of a CFL. Out of the guts out of one of those, like a 1303 or 13003 or 13005 or something. But what I'm using is what the hell are they called? It's fairly close to an IRF 510, and it's a really simple circuit. All I'm doing is you just gut out a 6 volt transformer, normal 4-leg transformer. So that would be, now this would be a 120 volt step down to 6 volt, rated at about 300 milliamps, and of course you're using it in reverse. Now we'll call this the primary, even though it used to be the secondary, but we'll call it the primary now. One leg of the primary goes to positive. The other leg of the primary comes to the drain, okay, on your FET, your middle leg, your drain leg, and basically what happens is this is what I played with, and like I say, I'm sure somebody else has done it first. I'm not going to claim to invent it, but if you take the drain and you come over and you allow for it to go in to positive, or sorry, into the transformer again, but you put some capacitance between it and positive, then it bounces back and forth. And because of that, you know, they're not both directly connected to positive. There's a tiny bit of capacitor there. That's a 103. The diode is, you know, I don't even know if I'm doing it right. I'm kind of thinking Bedini here, but I've got it going from the negative back over to the gate. I'm trying to protect the FET. Now, pin on your 555 timer, your number 1 is tied. Oh, isn't that funny? I've got it tied to negative. Yeah, no, that's right. I think, yeah, it's generally tied to negative. For some reason, I was thinking it's tied to positive. But yeah, no, it's tied to negative. Your number 2 jumps over to number 6. Now there's about 2K, I would say, between 6 and 7, and then from 7 to positive there's 1K. 8's tied to positive, 4's tied to positive, 5 is doing nothing. So number 3 on your output, I've got it going through a 100 ohm resistor, which you could play with changing around, and that's going over to the gate. You see my FET's backwards in there right now because I had an NPN in there before trying to make it go. And then of course your source off of your FET is to ground. But it's a nice little circuit. It doesn't make any noise, and you know, it's AC, so in theory anyway you should be able to run this thing out a ways. And it's very low draw, and you know, cheap like Borscht, right? The good place. This is this FET is a one that I keep running into all the time, and honestly I can't even remember where I keep getting them, but UPS's, I believe, uninterruptible power support supplies. But you know, like you grab any old UPS board and you're gonna see a whole rack of FETs like that, eh? And you know, like those are what, IRF 610s. I'm sure that they would work, or you know, any 100 volt or so FET's gonna do the trick. But it's kind of neat. I like it because it's another way to use up junk. I mean, I got a bit of capacitance. I got I should have said there on leg number 2, I'm tying to negative with some capacitance, which is typically done. That's a 103. Both of these are 103s. And then on one of my AC legs over here, I also have a 103. So on my output rather, like my secondary, what used to be the primary is now my secondary. It comes out, it doesn't go straight to the bulb leg. It actually ties through a capacitor here. Now I found that I could not get this to stay running without some resistance between number 3, your output, and your gate on your FET. You can play around with that. I've got a electrolytic sitting on the power rail too, just to smooth things. I think it's about a, I don't know, 60 microfarad or something. So very simple circuit. You know, if you can't find 555s, they're very cheap. 555 is basically the only component that, you know, that you buy a little. I think those, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, I think those are normally 9 watts or maybe even less. Now you're probably not going to drive a very big tube with this, but if you are somewhere in the world where you're running on 220 power, this would probably work even better, because your step up would be 20 times instead of well, no, 40 times instead of 20. I don't know, my math is bad right now. So anyway, there you have it, the little 555 CFL 12 volt rig. Thanks for watching.